So this session is specifically about fractions of Math 1012, Foundation of Mathematics. Now, fraction is one of the most difficult topics. It is the reason why most people would take Math 1012 in the first place, just to make sure they understand fractions before they move on to the next lectures and all that. So, in a nutshell, what is a fraction? Fraction is simply a part of something, or a part of a lumber. Right? I know it sounds a little bit crazy, right? What does that mean? A part of lumber, it sounds simple. The concept is simple. The execution is not. So, for example, right, if I have eaten half a pizza, right, half the pizza, then you will say that's 1/2, right? 1/2. Now, if I say I have eaten, say, 8 slices out of well, actually, you cut in 8 slices, right? So let's say I have eaten 5 slices, right, out of 8 slices of pizza, right? That's actually typical of me, right? So, and that would equal to 5/8. And let me make it a little bit better. Equations 5/8, like that. So basically, it's just a representation of how much you have taken out of the whole, out of the total. The problem is when you start to do operations together, right? When you have adding, subtracting, simplifying. So first, I want to talk about simplifications. Simplifications. I cannot spell. You know what? Oh, wait a minute. There you go. Simplifications. So what is simplification? So just for an example, right? Let's say I have like a 6/8. Right? 6/8. Well, it turns out that 6/8 can be made smaller than before. 6/8. And how do I know that? I know because coming from the other lecture from 1.9, I know 6 and 8 can be divided by the same number. So let me show you here. I can divide the top and the bottom. So I can do, usually I just do it like this. I can divide by, what's the division button right here? Divided by 2, and I go to the bottom and I do the same thing. Divided by 2. Right. Now, you have to divide it by the same number. That's the key. So that's equal to 6 divided by 2 is 3. 8 divided by 2 is 4. There you go. So 6/8 is the same thing as 3/4. Now, let me go to the next runs. Let's look at another example. This time, let's make it a little bit bigger. So this time, let's do 45 over, let's just say 75. How about that? Big numbers. Now, this one is a bit tricky because big number, and there are multiple ways. It can be divided by 5. It can also be divided by 3. My opinion is right. When you do math, always take small steps. Always go with the easy points first. You want to make it easier. And then you can just take another step after that. So for me, I fully recognize that the top and the bottom can be divided by 5. So I'll just go ahead and do that. I'll divide the top and the bottom by 5. Now let's see. And you can, of course, use calculator, right? There will be 9 over. 75 divided by 5 is going to be 15. There you go. Now, it's not finished yet because the top and the bottom is still can be divided, right? So let me do this. I'll divide the top and the bottom by 3, like that. So now you get 3 over 5. And that's that. Okay. So simplification is not too bad. You just gotta be able to take a step at a time. Sometimes you might get big numbers, and that's when you have to kind of use calculator to kind of help out a little bit. But I always go by this way. Try 2, 3, 5, 10 before I do anything else. Before I go into 11, 12, 13, 21, whatever. On the test, I'm not going to do it like that, right? It's going to be small numbers. It's going to be a number that you can realistically come up with in your head, and then you can calculate using the calculator if you wish. So now, that's simplification. Now, simplification always work with multiplication. Multiplication is actually pretty simple. Multiplication is for fractions, right? So I have 2 over 3, and then times. What's the times? But easy if I go there. Times. So I use that as times. Right? I don't use x because we're going to be using x as the unknown number, the variable. So let's say times 7 over 11. So fraction multiplication is the easiest problem you'll ever do because all you have to do is this. You just have to multiply the top and the bottom separately. So there'll be times here and times here, right? There'll be 7 and that will be 11. Just like that. Easy, right? And that's equal to, that will be 14 over 33. I like that, right? That's easy. There's nothing you can do to simplify these two, so that's the end. However, what if I give you a problem that basically require some sort of simplification? So, for example, if I have 8 over 5, for example, right, times, let's say we have 15 over 16, just to make it a little bit easier. Now you're like, okay, you're like, wait a minute, look at this 8 and the 16 here. If they belong to the same fraction, you would just simplify, right? Just like before here, right? It turns out you can simplify for as long as one number is on the top and the other guy's at the bottom. Doesn't matter which part of the fraction. If one is on the top, one at the bottom, you can simplify. So here's my idea. You can divide this and this, the 8 and the 16, by 4. Now you can do by 2 if you want, but 4, or you actually can do it by 8, right? My bad. 8 times 2 is 16, right? So that's my goal. So let's divide it by 8. They can both be divided by 8. So let me just copy this whole thing. And I will do like this. Up here, I'll do divided by 8. And I go to the bottom here and divide it by 8. You don't have to write this when you actually solve the problem. It just kind of help me explain what's going on. You could simply just do, okay, 8 divided by 8 in your head. That'll be 1, right? 1 over 5, okay? And then the other guy would be 15 over 2. So you could just do that. That's fine, right? You can skip that middle part right there. Now, look at 15 and 5, right? 15 and 5, same thing. You can then say, wait a minute, that would be, you can divide that by 5. And you can divide the top over here also by 5. So then you will become 1 over 1, right? 5 divided by 5 is 1, right? And then times 3 over 2. So it turns out the answer, 1 times 3 is 3, 1 times 2 is 2. Done. Easy, right? So multiplication is not too bad, right? Sometimes you do get into big, huge numbers. That's when you gotta be careful. So let me go to the paint operation and show you a kind of like a bigger number. So let's say we have, let me see, let's say we have 45, and I'm gonna draw some fractions here. And let's say this is 20. And this is, let's say it's 2 over, let's say 21. And this is 49. And this is, let's just come up with, let's see, let's just say, how about 30? And we want to multiply these guys. So just make sure we got a little dot right here. Let me make it a little bigger. A dot right here, dot right here. So now when you have a situation with 3 fractions, the key is you have to focus on one over the other, right? So don't try to do all 3 of them at the same time. So my goal is this. I would try to, first, I'm going to use red. I'll try to basically cross out the 20 and the 2. Because to me, that's the easiest pair to cancel. Because 2 going to 20 10 times, right? So I'll just cancel this, cancel this. So what do I get? I get, that becomes a 1. And this right here, 20 divided by 2 is 10, right? So that's my first step, right? Then second, I look at 45 and I look at 10. Hey, you know, wait a minute. They both can be divided by 5, right? So I would just go ahead and do that. I'll divide this by 5 and also this by 5. So this will become 9 over 2, right? Divided by 5, right? So let's say 2 cannot go into 9. 2 cannot go into 49. So we're pretty much done from there. However, look at the 9 and the 21. They can both be divided by 3, right? So let's do that. Divided by 3, divided by 3. So now I should get 3 and 7. So it's a little bit messy right now. So let me go ahead and rewrite this whole thing. You don't have to do that, but sometimes I do, just so that I don't get lost over here. So I know that I have, this is 3. Yeah, a lot easier if if you just type it on, writing on a piece of paper, right? So let me try to get that 30, like that. So now here's the deal. I have 49 on the right and 30 at the bottom. Look at the 7 here. 7 going to 49, right? So I will just do this. Divided by 7 and divide that by 7. So I should now get 49 divided by 7 is 7, right? 7 divided by 7 is 1. All right, that's done. Look at 3 and 30. So let's see. 3 and 30. So divide that by 3, divided by 3. Now I get 1 and 10. So it turns out the answer is none other than 7 over, there's a 2 here, right? 2 times 10 is 20. So this is a tough problem. It's a lot of steps, but again, you just got to maintain your focus and you'll get it. So 7 over 20. Now let's go back to the documents here. And I want to go into the next session here, which is division. Division is almost the same thing as a multiplication. The only difference is that we are now doing the reverse. What do I mean by that? When multiply or when divide a fraction, you have to multiply the inverse. In other words, you have to flip the second fraction upside down. So what am I saying? Well, here you have, let me see, here's an example. Say if I have 5 over 3, for example, right? Divided by, so I'm going to use a division button, say 2 over 7. Well, it turns out this thing is the same thing as a multiplication, but you have to do like this. 5 over 3, right? Oh, going crazy. 5 over 3. And then you have to times, that's times 1, right here, times 7 over 2. You have to flip the second guy. And this is what they call keep, change, flip. So maybe I should say this here. Keep, change, flip. Meaning you keep that first guy, you change the second guy, the division, to a multiplication, and you flip the last guy. Keep, change, flip. I'm sure some of you guys have heard that before. So what's that equal to? Multiply. So that's 35 over 6. Done. And that's it. Division, if you know how to multiply, you know how to divide. So in the future though, if you have stuff like this, say you have say 8 over 7, right? And then I say divided by, let's say what a division, divided by let's just say 2 over 15, and then multiply by, let's just say 10 over, well, let's not do 10. Let's try to come with something easy. Oh, here. Let's do 14 over 10. How about it? So crazy stuff, right? The first thing you do is to attend to that division there, to make sure that division has been flipped. But only flip the fraction immediately behind the division sign. So you'll do this, 8 over 7, right? Then you change, right? You change, keep, change, flip, right? That second guy right there. So there'll be 15 over 2, right? But you don't do anything with that 14 over 10. You keep it the same. That's the first step. Keep it the same. 14 over 10, just like that. And then you can do your simplification. Now, if you actually, so I'm going to try to do this in my head right here, the simplification. So I would say this, right? Look at this. The 2 and the 8, they can go into each other, right? 2 can go into 8, right? So that becomes 4, and that becomes 1, right? 2 divided by 2 is 1. What about the 10 and the 15? 10 and 15 can be divided by 5, so that's 2, and that becomes a 3, right? 2 can go to 14, right? 2 goes on to 14 7 times, so that's 1, and that's 7 times. And look at the 7 and the 7. You have 2 7s, so 7 divided by 7 is 1. 7 divided by 7 is 1. So that's equal to 4 times 3, that's 12. It's 12 over 1, right? But that's equal to 12. That's the same thing. So yeah, this one's a little bit tough now because there's a lot of different steps. So definitely write it down and give it some thought, right? You will absolutely see that on the test, and you will see more of this in the homework. And that concludes the introduction of fractions on multiplication and division.